Now, if it is continuing on an upward trajectory as we go to picks and bans for game number 1, SKT versus Najin, and there's that Kassadin ban right off the bat. Now, Kassadin enjoying his last patch of relevancy right now.
Well, he got the nerf to his Q in this patch, but even so, Najin has prioritized that Kassadin very heavily. Now, will they do it with Rain? Because the thing that Najin liked to do was to first pick Kassadin, but you always knew it was going to Goong. It went to Goong every single time.
Yeah.
So I didn't really see that as a major threat. So I am a bit surprised to see the Kassadin ban coming in first here.
I'm not too surprised to see the new ban coming in from Najin. You know, we talked about this a little bit ago. You know, what's Najin's plan? They just don't want to deal with it. It's understandable.
And Bengi has been a little shaky on some more skill shot-based champions. Lee Sin taken out, so a ban at the budding young jungler Peanut, who, by the way, plays more Rengar than anything else in solo queue.
Really? Interesting.
Wow, 2 bans against Peanut already.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is if you want to shut someone down in their first match, you take away their comfort picks, force them more into sort of a high-stress situation. I think it's a good idea.
All right, Rumble and LeBlanc, of course, going to be taken away as well. And now we see the Lissandra left up. This is actually one of the most dangerous picks you can give SK Telecom because both Marin and Faker are so good on this champion. Now, Najin may be looking at the last set in which the Lissandra pick, Marin did a good job early, but couldn't convert in team fights late. So maybe they think that's going to happen again. Veigar is going to be locked in first. Now,
Veigar first pick. All right.
Played that Veigar support up against SK Telecom and eventually ended up forcing SKT to ban him.
Yeah.
We have seen more and more Veigar being played. Of course, it debuting here in Korea with incredible miracles. Tucson fielding the pick first, but it has trickled over. Cloud9 now playing it as well.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been successful as well. The zone with the Event Horizon is certainly one of the strongest abilities in the game for that. And what are we going to see from Najin? Hecarim Rengar? I wonder if it's going to be a Lulu Rengar, actually.
I think the Hecarim might be a very viable pick. We've seen it picked up in China in both jungle and top positions.
Yeah.
So with those buffs to Hecarim that came in, it certainly can be quite strong. And this would be a very heavy engage composition from Najin, Rengar, and Hecarim able to go into the back lines. We're not going to see it. Corki and Gnar will be the selection. So,
well, a comp like that would have a bit of a hard time engaging onto a Veigar composition, wouldn't it?
You'd be stunned at the end of the leaps. So yeah, it may be a little bit problematic.
Be a bit tricky, yeah.
Well, a lot of zone control coming in. Bengi not going to opt for the buy this time. They will take away the Jarvan. And actually, Graves against the Corki. That has long been a traditional counter pick in this matchup. Yeah. And we've seen a lot of Graves in the LCS regions, but it hasn't been a particularly popular pick here in Korea. And I honestly think that's a bit dangerous. If you can get the 2v2, it's going to be strong, but Graves' short range can put him in some pretty big trouble against a champion like Gnar later on in the late game team fights.
Yeah, very true. I mean, SKT is going to have a pretty big 2v2 laning phase, I think, to make this one work. And we don't even know what the support pick is for Najin just yet. A lot of things you can bring out to make Graves' life kind of miserable. See what they decide to go with. 2 more picks.
Still some pretty intense burst damage if they land the Event Horizon properly. And of course the single target damage coming in from Veigar as well with Graves could make for a very bully lane. Leona
I really like that
the pickup. Yeah, that's actually smart.
I think it's
Braum would have been good here as well.
Anything that gives you kind of a front line in a 2v2, you know, Braum, Leona, and then using that later on in the game, I think the Lulu is going to work great. Probably going to see that.
So Lulu mid, and this actually, Rain has the highest win rate out of all his champions in solo queue on this Lulu. So there you go. Something that he has been doing quite well on as of late. And Yasuo, probably not going to be the pickup right here, but Renekton, a Marin staple, going for some more lane dominance. And what will we see? Probably that Ezreal coming in.
Now, Faker's played a lot of very successful Ezreal games lately. He did lose one in that 3rd game against GE Tigers, but...
Yeah, I like the Lissandra better here than the Renekton. So what they're trying to do, this is a very interesting comp from SK Telecom. One thing that SK Telecom has been very successful on when Faker has played Ezreal is that his true shot barrages have very heavily damaged the back line. Now with Graves Ezreal as a combination, Usually SK Telecom would play Corki Ezreal or Sivir Ezreal and then try for Siege. This is a composition entirely designed to destroy the back line of Najin instantly with ultimates. Collateral damage, True Shot Barrage will just sail right over the top and eliminate some of these threats. Now, this is going to be up to Marin to get the flanks as well so he can get the Frozen Tomb on the back line as well. But this is also a very good engage comp from Najin. They have the sped up Rengar and the sped up Gnar very easily capable of engaging and forming an instant front line. A lot of protection for Corki here. You would normally see a more hyper carry in this position.
You ever see that video with the two hyper-strong magnets that are allowed to just kind of smash into each other? I think that's pretty much the equivalent of what we're going to see in this game from these two comps. It's going to be pretty fast and furious from both sides. But what do you think? I feel like SKT's is maybe a little bit more intricate to perform.
Well, you know, they're not going to have a big tank in the mid game until Bengi can get some items down.
I feel like there's a bigger margin of error for SK Telecom in this game.
Yeah, but there's also a pretty spectacular ability to destroy the back line. I mean, basically, if OQ dies here, they may have some pretty huge issues in terms of outputting damage to actually finish off a team fight. Of course, if Gnar gets the right positioning, that could end things very quickly as well. I think we have some very interesting team comps going. Najin looking for a hard engage. SK Telecom, they want to poke out the back line before entering combat.
All right, well, here we go, guys. The first game of the second round. Let's see who takes it. All right, guys, here we go. Match one, set one, SK Telecom versus Najin e-mFire. I feel like when that Hawk looks at you in the intro, there should like be words that come on the screen that says OGN Hawk. We need to make him feel more included.
I'm a bit surprised Rain took Cleanse here. Of course, that's not typically what you would see in a mid lane matchup against a champion like Ezreal, but very concerned about Lissandra and Veigar in team fights in this game. Wants to maintain that mobility. A lot of pressure on Peekaboo this game to get the proper event horizons, because if he fails that, Najin's engage is pretty intense. So Najin basically is going to want to eliminate the threat of Peekaboo's event horizon, draw it out, and then immediately re-engage with a Rengar ultimate or with a sped-up Gnar. So a lot of ways for Najin to get in. SK Telecom really going to have to use their ultimates well. And Peanut and Duke having some fun in the top lane.
Some signs in the audience cheering Peanut on too, saying he's going to carry the game. And we'll see if he can. We haven't seen a Rengar for a little while now.
Yeah,
we've seen pick for him.
We've seen more Rengar bans, and a lot of the lack of Rengar has been the Lulu bans as well. When teams like CJ and Jin Air started debuting these high shield, high speed Rengar engage compositions, teams started just taking it away because it is really powerful, and you can get engaged on at the drop of a hat. And mostly Rengar, who falls off in the late game because he lacks a lot of crowd control compared to a champion like Jarvan, and is so easy to kill. When he has the Lulu shield at Wild Growth and is just zooming into your backline, it becomes significantly more problematic, and that's when he really shines.
Yeah. I mean, vision control in this game is going to be such a premium because both teams need to set up really, really good engages, and so I think we're going to see a bit of a ward war.
All right, well, Bengi's going for enemy blue right now after it's a little bit of a bold play, actually. And there we go. He's going to go ahead and smite that and see it, and then head over to Bengi's blue buff probably immediately. That was actually a very smart smite right there.
Again, I think it's a good idea, too. You want to pick on the new guy, right? Rain, I mean, that's Faker's job to handle him in mid lane. But as far as the jungle goes, anything you can do to just shake Peanut up, you know, throw him off his game plan, I think is going to be very valuable.
Well, and this was enabled by the threat of this composition while Faker and Rain really going at it in the mid lane, but Rain doesn't have heal, so Faker knows he can push his limits just a little bit more. That cleanse not going to be doing a lot against the Ezreal. I think Faker trying to trade very aggressively right now is a very good plan.
Yep.
So anyway, to talk about what happened right there in terms of that blue buff steal, SK Telecom saw that they had a winning matchup, and with Graves' wave clear, they were able to push the wave immediately, freeing up Peekaboo to go help Bengi over at that blue buff if necessary. So Peanut not going to get his blue buff at the start of this game. Faker in with an early ward.
Oh, Kane goes in onto Peekaboo here to kind of force him away. They're going to push Bang back as well. And I'm not sure if the Q-Sun actually landed on Peekaboo there or not, or if Kane was stopped up by the Event Horizon. Like you said, it stops him at the end of the charge there. Hey, it's Ring Troll.
Wow, Ring Troll and Garvey.
That's right. Ring Troll's hair is beautiful as ever. If it it's kind of a history lesson for people that maybe haven't watched Champions from the beginning, but Ring Troll was like the original Lee Sin God here in Korea. This guy was so good way back in like 2012.
Used to play for Incredible Miracle.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, Q taking a big chunk of damage. Kane going in though. That shield protecting him a little bit. Bang, getting a bit low. Has to get away with the quick draw.
Yeah, nice trading there, of course.
Yeah.
Corki Leona, one of those heavy kill threat lanes. Rengar will be pinged back right there. Of course, they do have a ward right in the river, so Peanut not going to find an opportunity here at level 3.
Yep.
And Duke having a bit of a hard time up against Lissandra. The Q spam from Lissandra can be a little bit hard for Gnar to deal with in the early levels. Once he gets Hex Drinker, however, that's when this matchup kind of turns around and goes into Gnar's favor.
Yep. So we've seen in the past. So far, a lot of trading, no kills just yet. Junglers kind of going about their business. Bengi's going to walk right through that ward, though. Bang and Peekaboo really pushed up. Kane OQ not looking too bad. Okay. No opportunities there for Bengi, but we'll see. Maybe he'll come over the wall.
I love the fact that we have these two high kill pressure bottom lanes going at it. It's been a long time, really, since we've seen that, in particular, in the metagame.
You know this is going to be just one of those games where things are going to kind of erupt out of nowhere, you know? It's a very volatile situation all game long, which is exactly what I like to see. So I'm happy about this. It's good.
Ward in the dot brush in the river does see both Bengi and Peekaboo.
Yep.
Rain just trying to farm as safely as he can. Peekaboo opening up a lot of roaming opportunities right now, and one of the things that we've heard the Korean pro players say about Tusin's support Veigar, and Tusin really the guy who started playing this very heavily at the top of solo queue. And there we go.
Oh, not bad. They froze up OQ. Yeah, nice combination between that Event Horizon and Faker's True Shot Barrage.
And this is how Faker plays this mid lane, Ezreal. We've seen it constantly. What he does is he will shoot that True Shot Barrage into the minion waves in his side lanes, because the way SK Telecom uses Ezreal is to create a mid-game advantage. So in the past, when we've seen him use it, pretty much every time that cooldown is up, he'll fire it over into one of the side lanes just so that the minion wave will push up and they can start chipping the towers very actively. SK Telecom's very aware of the mid-game power spike on Ez, and they want to use it as much as possible. OQ having a really hard time here.
Yeah. Peanut there to prevent any sort of dive, but OQ's been put pretty hard. He's kept up at CS. Ult used on the Duke here. Marin trying to get away. Still has his flash though. Oh, but Duke flash ultimate. Can Mar make it out? He uses his flash. Oh, and it misses. Wow. Could have been a first blood for Duke there, but Marin manages to dodge the skill shot at the last moment. It will open up a dragon, though, for SKT.
Yeah, especially since Corki went back right there, so they're using the fact that Marin actually on his recall there, because Duke was low, what triggered them to do that was that since Marin was chunked out and he had already recalled back to full HP and they had teleport advantage, it made that a very safe attempt at the dragon, because even if Corki hadn't gone back, it would have been immediately a 5v4 thanks to the teleport. So SK Telecom actually using Marin losing that duel to create a little bit of an edge.
Yeah.
Smart.
Well, what you got to do? Oh, Bengi getting very low against the red Bramblebacks.
I think only that one is a Bramble. Oh, I guess they're all Bramblebacks.
Well,
who knows? Who the hell even knows what a brambleback is?
Lesser bramble, well, something with brambles on its back. It's not very hard to. I thought you were an analyst, Monte Cristo. That's not very hard to figure out. Come on. Well, Peanut warding right after the red buff is taken.
Here we go again.
Yep. Here we go. Oh, wow. Faker. He's pretty good at hitting those, isn't he? It's not bad.
That's how he asserts his dominance on the map. We've been over this before, and oh, what the?
Oh boy, here we go. Peanut and Kane coming in. Bang throws down the smoke screen. It allows Pikaboo and them to get out. Pikaboo really low though. First blood taken by Peanut. Welcome to Champions Korea, man.
Wow, and Najin deciding to go right there, even though they saw the pink ward. So, yeah. I mean, they walked in, so Rengar was immediately visible walking through there. I thought they would abort the attempt, but Najin, knowing their limits, able to take out that very squishy Pikaboo. Pikaboo going for those Moby boots first.
That's right. Man, that's got to feel good.
Wow, I'm really surprised they committed to that, Noah, but it definitely worked out.
Well, like you said, they knew their limits, you know, and Marin getting a little bit low here. Duke throws him against the wall with the ultimate. The E doesn't work. Marin has to ult Duke. Can he get away? Wow, Duke is just such a good top laner, man.
I mean,
wins those 1v1s.
The fact that he's doing this even without that Hex Drinker yet is a little interesting, especially because Marin is no slouch on this Lissandra. It's been one of his best champions this season, but Duke just consistently all-inning Marin and forcing him to run away. Now he has to return back up into that top side, and there we go.
Yep.
Blue buff taken again, so blue buff will be taken on respawn by SK Telecom using the True Shot Barrage to hand it over to Faker in the mid lane. So SK Telecom really playing strong on this bottom side jungle.
Yeah, they're doing fine this game. I mean, they got that first dragon. Najin got first blood, but overall things fairly even. Controlling that blue buff is really going to give Rain a bit of a difficult time. He doesn't have his Athene's done quite yet. Lulu can be a bit of a mana hog.
Well, you know what I like too is SK Telecom is preying on the jungler and mid laner right now. They know these guys are new to the professional scene, and they've tailored their game plan around just trying to mess with them, basically.
Smart, you know?
Rain not being able to get that blue buff, having to play against Faker. I mean, this is his first professional game, and he has to go up against Faker. And not only that, to add insult to injury, he doesn't even get his blue buff. I mean, this is the way you tilt people right here.
Credit to him too for more or less, you know, keeping up in CS, not dying. Really strong performance so far in the laning phase from Rain.
I feel really bad for him now.
Well,
I mean, he's
doing okay.
He's holding his own, that's for sure.
I feel bad if he had been ganked a couple times.
I'm trying to think about like a worse situation. You could give up like a level 1 first blood to Faker or something like that, but it doesn't get more intimidating than what he's facing down right now. Peanut going to miss the 2 wards right there with his lens. Good placement actually from SKT. Yep. Those are really weird ward locations actually. So they're playing mind games right now, warding outside of the normal brushes and scan zones. Clever, very clever.
Sees what it needs to see, and that's kind of a good thing to keep in mind. You know, you have to kind of rotate those ward locations depending on kind of where people are used to seeing them in the meta. Well, and it looks like Bengi's been standing in a ward for the last 30 seconds or so. Time to recall.
And meanwhile, Najis is going to take advantage of that, start moving through the enemy jungle. Kane going to be there with him. Faker ventures forth with a Mystic Shot, but doesn't quite find anybody in that jungle. Duke now pushed all the way back to his turret. Marin's been doing some good work on the top side, though. Chipping away at this one. And that's the thing is, Marin has been punished. Duke has been punishing it because Marin wants to push forward.
Yeah.
When SK Telecom plays Ezreal, they want the mid-game advantage. They want to just take down all of the outer ring of towers as best they can. Oops, couldn't quite get that ward before the Raptor smite buff wore off right there.
I guess, yeah. A little bit awkward there. But you do kind of have to search for it after it activates, you know? You don't always know exactly where that ward is.
True.
Yeah.
Can't quite find it in time, but Peanut, his movement's very well tracked right now. And you know, SK Telecom doing good work. You want those deep wards in against Rengar because you're just not going to be able to see him when he ults in if you have him in the river.
There's a solar flare right onto Pikaboo. Pikaboo gets the event horizon off, and that lets Bengi come in. A kill for SKT. Faker's 2-shot barrage comes through, takes a chunk out of Peanut. Peanut's going to flash away from that one. They got the teleport from both top laners. In the end, though, a kill for Najin. Kane thought he had an opportunity there, and SKT turned it around.
And also right there, Duke canceled, so he'll have his TP up faster than his top lane opponent, so there will be a little bit of a timing window right there should they choose to use it. That was a very good cancel from Duke. There was no possibility of a follow-up.
Very true.
And this has been a very interesting game so far, very tactical, and SK Telecom coming in with a clear game plan. That first pick support Veigar really doing a lot of work right here, and can't help but wonder if maybe Oki was baited into that Corki pick a little bit, and whether a lane swap would have been better, especially since they were losing the early matchups in both top and bottom. Duke still a little bit behind in terms of CS.
You know, it's cool to see this support Veigar come up too, because he does offer a lot of very interesting sort of utility. Let's watch this fight again. Kane just thinking he's got an easy kill onto Peekaboo. Veigar is very, very fragile, but Bengi in the brush.
Yeah, Najin actually pulled the trigger on that a little bit too early. If Peanut had been there, this probably would have been Najin's fight, but Bengi with the pink ward allows that play to happen. And that's a bit of miscommunication, honestly. They wouldn't have gone in had they known that Peanut wasn't quite there yet, Peanut coming in through the lane gank. But they also knew that he was on that side of the map, so bit of a mistiming right there from Najin, but it doesn't cost them too dearly. They only lose a support kill for it. I mean, gold pretty much even.
Who cares if the supports die, right? I mean,
That's my attitude.
You monster. But no, this Veigar is interesting because we know there's changes for him coming in, 5.4, right? A little bit of a delay on the event horizon. According to the patch notes that came out today, it's only 0.75 seconds. So
well, that's a lot.
It's still something that you can land, though. And the cooldown is lower on his W now.
Yeah, but
so it's going to be more siege potential, I think.
That's true.
That's what I was thinking about.
He'll still work in siege compositions, but it was too strong. I mean, having this huge stun in a ring, instant casting is kind of ridiculous. Yeah. And we're to look at Ring Troll some more.
Ah, yes, the lovely Ring Troll getting a lovely Garvey massage. Oh, wow. The Ring Troll doesn't really know how to do that, though. His fingers weren't in the proper position, His pinky was kind of sticking up. That's the gentleman's hard completion, I think. We'll have to assume that's what Ring Troll was going for there.
That's also how he sips his tea.
That's right.
Very daintily.
Pinky up. Yep, that's right. Is there any actual technical name for having your pinky up while you drink a beverage?
Dainty drinking.
Okay. I just called it the Doa because I was the only one who I ever saw it doing it. I never saw it on TV or in humorous references or anything like that. I have no idea. And fans. We treat everyone equally here. Fans get camera time. Ring Troll gets camera time. Faker gets camera time. It's good. It's great to be back, spectating Faker once again. I'm just so happy I've got the opportunity.
It is. It's so nice.
There he is. Yep. Crowd laughed right there. That made me feel like my joke was funny. Thank you. Thank you, Korean commentators, for coincidentally saying something funny at the same time.
They probably also made a spectate Faker joke.
I think so. I think there's been a lot of people doing that. If social media can be trusted.
No, it can't, Doa.
It's a bit of a funny situation, frankly. But nothing funny about this series for either team, though. It means a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But, Peanut getting first blood against SK Telecom in your first game in the booth ever. I can't. That's like a story to tell your grandkids, It's like, there I was, 17 years old, starting against SK Telecom in my first professional match ever, and I got first blood with Rengar. I walked right through a pink ward to do it, kids. And they're like, wow.
Wow, right through a pink ward.
That was back when pink wards were in the game? Crazy. Now everyone just has an automatic scrying lens that they use. Wow. There's no jungle anymore. I'm trying to imagine league changes in 50 years or something. Rengar, wasn't he champion 80-something out of 6,000? We have 80 bans per game now.
It takes 3 hours to go through a draft.
That's right. And finally, Riot has a reason to actually run best of ones. There you go.
It all makes sense now.
That's right. It's all coming together. I see it. Well, again, Rain doing really well in the mid lane overall. A little bit low on mana, though. That blue buff loss is hurting him a bit.
Faker actually going for a Vamp Scepter this game. Usually just builds the Manamune into Trinity Force, but he's be mixing it up. Of course, dealing with some of this legal harassment. And SK Telecom wants Dragon number 2. They're abusing that Corki recall for the second time. Marin moving down to the mid lane now that his TP is down. Very clean objective control from SK Telecom this game, and they've been using the opportunities given to them by Najin's recalls very well. And I love that we're seeing SK Telecom with these very pushing-oriented lanes. They have been able to chunk out OQ pretty effectively. OQ catching back up in terms of CS, though, and now the matchup's going to start to turn now that he's 6 and has the Trinity Force.
Yeah. It's Corki's time to shine. Kane.
Sees everybody piling up there.
Yeah. Korean Lysandra.
Look at the emphasis that they've put on this bottom side. Marin.
Can they get a kill here? Peanut waiting. Marin coming up. Duke's trying to bait it as hard as he can. W was used. There we go. They lock him up. And E cannot get Marin to safety in time. And another kill for Najin.
And he did that too without Thrill of the Hunt being up. Just having the max ferocity Bola to get the lockdown right there.
Straight up just leaping out of the bush with that passive.
Marin doesn't have that high amount of survivability right now, has yet to build a Seeker's arm guard, so he was vulnerable in that situation. Marin really does like to get, right as I say that, the home guard enchant. Marin's favorite thing to do on Lysandra is to get Lucidity boots and home guard before he finishes his Morello Namicon typically. And this allows for some very early plays in the bottom lane. And with the emphasis that SK Telecom has put on the bottom side of the map this game, Marin has been pretty much on his own up in the top side. And look at the number of wards. They have just repeatedly deep warded the bottom side, using the shoving power of Graves and Veigar to move very aggressively forward on that side. Take away those blue buffs. Will a blue buff go over to Rain now? It is up, or is SK Telecom going to try and make yet another play on that objective?
Well, we know they have the timer on it too, so they can certainly do that. Peekaboo hiding behind the wall for now, and here we go. Marin, he still has his flash available, ults himself. Can he get out with his summoner? Can't do it. Another kill. They are really punishing Marin, and you know, you just talked about how these boots allow him to be more mobile, make plays, but in the top lane, he is so vulnerable at this stage.
He needs TP to make the plays. TP's still not
up.
Well,
that's true too, yeah.
So that's a big problem right there. He didn't have enough wards, and when you're playing against this Rengar, that's some great intuition by Peanut, actually.
Yeah. Going
up into that top side again, having his ult the second time. Turret was down, so if Marin walked up to that wave, it was pretty much a free kill. Marin, I don't know about this. Now he's going after the arm guard. His build path has been disrupted a little bit, actually. It's going to be a while before he finishes one of his major core items.
Yep. Oh, a little bit of damage onto OQ. I think Faker actually hitting him right before the Valkyrie there.
Yeah, I mean, Faker's True Shot barrages have just been putting such an effect on the other lanes this game, and having that early tier means he can just spam all those Ezreal skill shots and lower the cooldown constantly on that True Shot barrage. So.
Yeah. Well, it makes it so scary, too, when you're thinking about entering any sort of fight against SK Telecom, that you're going to have this chunk of damage from True Shot barrage inevitably coming through, because Faker just doesn't seem to miss those.
Pretty impressive, but so far to recap this game, Najin does have that gold lead, but 2 dragons already over to SKT, and we've seen a pretty neutral mid lane so far, with SKT winning bottom and then Najin winning top. Now, I have to say I give the edge to Najin in this situation, just because I think their composition is not as finicky in the late game. Having this big Gnar is going to have a massive effect on how this game plays out.
Yep.
And the double AD compositions can be a little bit risky at times. And SKT, you know, they're really dependent on the collateral damage and True Shot barrage hitting the back line of Najin, and with the number of shields that they have, it may be
every single time.
How does he do that?
Things Faker does, man. Never misses a True Shot barrage. I don't know. I don't know how he does it. He's Faker. He just does this.
Man, OQ must be so annoyed right here, because he just takes like free chunks, and he has no sustain from his support either. So that's been a big part of the reason why Bang and Peekaboo have been able to push up so aggressively this entire game so far. Bang also going for Zerker Greaves early.
Oh, here we go. A little bit of action going on, and they do catch Bengi. There's a Solar Flare to keep him trapped, and there's just nothing that Bengi can do. perfect solar flare from Kane to finish locking him up. Now Faker taking a lot of damage, forced to use his flash there. They caught Marin for a moment. No follow-up with that, or rather, Peekaboo caught Duke for a moment.
Yeah, not much they could do right there, actually, up against Duke. He's just too damn tanky at this point. And here we go. Here comes the ult. They want Faker.
Yeah, they do. They're going to get him with the bola as well. Can Faker make it out? No flash. He does get a kill onto Peanut, though. Peekaboo picks that one up. But in the end, OQ manages to snag one off of Faker. Kane gets out, shielded by that Lulu, and it looks like they're going to get mid lane turret, too. So trading mid lane for jungler. Najin gets the turret, though. They're going to come out ahead. Dragon up in about 30. And I think it's going to be bloody.
Man, Peanut's Rengar play is really good. He may have died right there, but that was a very worthwhile trade, all things considered, as we see what's going to happen right here. He's going to come in from the side. There's the shield and the Whimsy.
Flash, too.
Flash, leap, and then Bola to lock down Faker, and then Kane following up. You know, Faker, I wonder if it would have been better for him to take Cleanse as well this game. He frequently does take Cleanse, and with Leona, Rengar, and Gnar on the enemy team, it may have been smart for him to pick up that summoner, even if it meant he was going to be a little bit less lane dominant. But Peanut, you know, I came in tonight saying, this guy mains Rengar in solo queue, and he is making the plays. His first professional game, 20 minutes in, 100% kill contribution, and his instincts about where to be on the map have been spot on so far.
He's feeling the thrill of the hunt, that's for sure.
Very impressive debut. And the other thing to remember, too, is that jungle is the hardest position to transition from solo queue to the professional level, in my opinion. Because either that or top lane because of the difference in lane swaps, but it's just the team coordination that you have to play professionally in the jungle is very different than what you can get away with in solo queue.
You know, as far as that goes, too, I mean, Peanut has been with the team for a couple months, even if he wasn't ineligible to play in a professional match. He's still gotten a decent amount of scrim experience, but still to kind of make that jump in just the few months that he's been on the team is impressive regardless.
Well, I think it just really shows Najin's intelligence in terms of their player scouting to lock this guy up before he turns 16, give him a chance to at least scrim with professional players and develop before throwing him right into the fire of a game against some of the most intimidating players of all time that are on SK Telecom.
Well, Dragon is up, and it's been up for a little while. Najin looks like they've got a decent position for it, but there are still wards for SKT around. They're going to see this one started. Najin just looking very nervous. They're going to pull it out of the pit. We'll see if they can get it. Two-shot barrage takes a chunk out of Rain and OQ. Peanut coming down. And he's ready to come over the wall, actually. Nope, just jumping back onto the Dragon. They're going to get it. So one apiece for each of these teams as far as Dragons go. And Najin manages to take that one cleanly.
I think that was a smart use of the Rengar ult, actually, because it set up the opportunity for them to turn instantly if they went in. Otherwise, he could just help burn down the Dragon and get out of there quite quickly with his Ferocity fully stacked again in case they needed to disengage with bolas. So using it early. Good use right there. Meanwhile, Faker will be taking blue buff. Blue buff started up here by Peanut. We'll see. It does get handed over to Rain's mid-lane Lulu.
He's pinging it. Looks like he'll be able to get it. Bang, meanwhile, pushing up that bot lane yet again.
I mean, SK Telecom just hasn't been able to group.
Yeah. Wow, Faker with I feel like a relatively quick Muramana.
Yeah, pretty average timing, really.
Oh, okay.
Should be about the time in the game that he picks that up. So he should be looking pretty good at this point, holding off, going into that Trinity Force as a second completed item.
Well, Bang's got IE as well, too, so SK Telecom certainly does have a lot of bursty damage, and Faker just finishing his Trinity Force, too. So, yeah, if there was a time for SKT to be ready to start fighting, I think it's going to be about now. Looks like Najin, though, is really close to having double Randuins, which is going to make that a bit harder.
I want to talk about SKT. Yep, there's a red steal for Faker.
All right.
Look at their wards this game. something that earlier in the season, SK Telecom, here comes Marin, home guard.
Yeah, trying to come in, the turret pretty low. Doesn't look like he, well, okay, he's gonna go for it. Ult onto OQ, teleport coming down for Duke as well. Nice solar flare, slowing people up, and actually they're gonna force SK Telecom back.
No dice on that attempt right there. Yeah. Everybody piling into the bottom side from Najin.
Oh, Duke flash ult. Nice transformation of Meganar right the last time. Kane gets caught up a bit. Bengi trying to get away, dodges a skill shot from Nar. And Duke not able to pick up any there, but what a great ultimate.
Just came back up as well, so
yeah, they're going to get this turret.
SK Telecom going to have a little bit of a hard time dealing with this. Everybody too low, and that gets turned around immediately. Duke, counterplay, and Marin having a really tough time this game. Duke again showing how good he can be on this Gnar, even after the Gnar nerfs. Here we go.
Oh, coming in, they're going to catch Faker again. Faker does have flash available, but he's not going to get to use it. A kill for OQ. And this is a completely different Najin team than we saw in round one.
I mean, their pressure on the map. And what's more, I wanted to talk about this, but SK Telecom has done a great job of warding this game. One of my biggest problems with SKT earlier in the season was that Bengi would frequently die warding. He wasn't working very well with Peekaboo. This game, Bengi and Peekaboo have been doing work, getting deep wards in on the bottom side the whole time, getting wards in the top side, and Peanut, even with all this vision on him, has done work this game so far.
Yeah.
He still is riding that 100% kill contribution, but for a jungler that has been seen virtually this entire game, he has found ways to make plays via the pressure on the lane.
Yeah, 115 still maintaining that 100% contribution for kill this game. Relatively low kill game, but still impressive to be there. Gonna find this pink ward right away. And I don't know, if you're SK Telecom, you're starting to fall behind a bit here. They can definitely still come back and win it, but things are starting to get a little bit worrisome.
Yeah, and the more armor that gets stacked up right here, the big problem for SKT, Marin is behind. He is your source of AP damage right here. Of course, Peekaboo will do a little bit with his ultimate onto an AP champion like Lulu in the mid lane.
Yeah, that'll
help.
But
with the shields and then the HP provided by the Randuins, Marin is just not going to be doing a lot of damage, and they'll be able to kind of weather the storm and then turn it around. Kane gets shot out.
And they'll get an easy kill there. Nice Event Horizon coming in from Peekaboo. Set that one up. Faker getting a badly needed kill there. You know, interestingly enough, Corki is going to be one of the few AD carries that actually does get a bit hurt by that Peekaboo ultimate from Veigar. A little bit of siege from SK, and they'll be able to zone well enough to take that mid lane turret too.
Yeah, not having too much AP, but a little bit with the Sheen and the Trinity Force. Yeah,
more than most AD carries.
That
anyway.
is true.
Yeah,
that is true. So, let's see what the response is. OQ, what is he building?
He is going for another Trinity Force.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why he has Phage components right now.
Yeah.
See what he does with that. Maybe he just wants a little bit more HP for the mid game, and we'll be turning that into a cowl or something later on, but that's a bit of a weird build.
Well, it could be the start of a Banshee fail or something like that,
yeah,
I
exactly.
suppose. Yeah, could see that.
I actually think that's a great pickup right here.
It wouldn't be
It may seem weird, but if you can absorb a true shot barrage or a collateral damage with that, that is absolutely huge. And I think that's a really good read if he does go for the Veil against SKT's composition. Sure, the MR won't do much, but it'll allow you to just take one of those skill shots in the back line and avoid that damage. So
makes you a little bit safer against, well, really everything, you know. Event Horizon, Lissandra engage.
Faker just cleaning out the mid wave while he takes that blue buff.
Blue Sentinel. Kind of holding onto the blue buff.
Wow, it's really amazing how deep SK Telecom has managed to get wards in this game. Usually you don't see this. This is a new dimension to their play that was really lacking in the first part of this season. And
it's a pretty different game than what we saw in the first round.
Yeah,
both sides.
You know, it's unfortunate because if anything, this has been some misplays from SKT because they've had the necessary information in this game.
Oh, they're going to go in on Bengi. Bengi got caught with the bola, but managed to get his QE combo off in time. And good zoning with the smoke screen for Bang. Kind of preventing war engage. It looks like Najin's going to go for this dragon. This would be their second two-shot barrage coming through. And can they get it? Here we go, SKT looking to engage. They're going to come in, and actually Bengi
steals
stole it. That's 3 dragons for SKT now. Bengi might give his life for this one, but it was worth. Whoa. Kane coming over the wall, Solar Flare doesn't anyone. Peanut coming too. They're going to try to jump onto Peekaboo. Peekaboo flashing into the red buff pit. Faker firing from the outside, but Duke is Meganar. They get the slow into Marin. Oh, nice Event Horizon from Peekaboo, keeping Duke from pursuing Marin. And so SKT manages to get a disengage after that Dragon Steal. They gave up Bengi for it. Will they have to give up a mid lane turret maybe? I don't think so. I think that one was pretty clean for SKT.
Yeah, Bang should have the wave clear right here. Not a big deal to go ahead and take that out. Faker also has True Shot Barrage, so he can fire in any waves that get overly pushed. And wow, bold attempt right there. Peanut not able to land his smite. Does get a return kill. Okie dokie. Wow, Faker nearly taking out Rain right there.
From the
how does he keep hitting all of these cross-map True Shot Barrages? It's getting ridiculous.
It's Faker. He has the ability to predict the future. I'm pretty much. It's confirmed now. Faker can predict the future. Looks like OQ just went ahead and got a quick QSS. I suppose a quicker way to get that utility, the ability to get out of that.
Yeah.
Snares and everything.
Oh, yeah. And it'll help him. It'll help him too, of course, with the Lissandra ultimate. So.
And he can build that into more damage later, I suppose, if he wants to in SKT. All right. Not quite going for that damage. I was going to say, that'd be a little bit of a risky one right now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably not going to want to go to that. Najin's warding has not been great this game, though. I will say that. Even though we are on 5.3 and we do see a lot of these upgraded totems out of the top laner.
Okay, caught again. Well, case in point right there. Meanwhile, a battle in the jungle. Peanut getting caught up. True Shot Barrage comes through. Peanut getting very, very low. Marin not using the E, decides to just stick around, get Bengi that kill anyway. Faker just dueling with OQ, but that Lulu shield is going to make it a bit dangerous. Faker nearly time to pop that heal there. And is SKT going to go for this Baron? I still feel like, oh, well, 2 people down. Why not, you know?
Yeah, no jungler. This is a very safe Baron to do right now. They have 2 AD carries, so they can burn through this extremely quickly. That will be the Baron going over to SKT. And finally, you know, SKT, in my mind, should have had the bigger lead earlier in this game with their warding. But Marin made some misplays based on information that he should have had in particular. And so now, though, they are actually able to convert their vision advantage into a substantive objective advantage at long last. So they're able actually to take the gold lead again, still having a very close game, but if Najin doesn't start warding up more heavily, they are going to have some issues. They only have 1 Sightstone compared to the 2 on SK Telecom at the moment. So they will be down in wards, generally speaking, but really Peanut needs to buy more wards. He has an empty slot, needs to buy wards.
That's a good point. And maybe that is a little bit of the solo queue mentality still kind of sneaking in there. Yeah.
I'm afraid it might be.
Yeah.
There he goes. Picks up some wards now.
Okay.
Gets a little bit of extra gold on the recall.
Looks like 3 green ones. If I can squint at this tiny screen. I'm reasonably confident. Let's see what happens here. Recall from Marin. We'll see what he picks up. Oh, decides to cancel that recall. SKT pushing up the mid lane. Rain in a little bit of trouble. Cataclysm trapped up. And Faker's going to get it with the True Shot Barrage. The Solar Flare from Kane did not help, but a double kill for Faker. Now it's time to take down that mid lane turret. And SKT is going to do that with ease. Bang, thinking about going in onto OQ.
Their wave clear is gone.
Yep, there goes an inhibitor now very soon. Very soon. Faker's like, well, maybe I can make a huge play here, but nope. Get the inhibitor, good enough. And
keep rolling right here, and why not?
Yeah. Wow, and they're going to take the Nexus turret. This is getting a bit dangerous. Peanut pops the ultimate, gets caught anyway with the Lissandra ult. Duke comes in, can't really make much happen. Peanut about to go down, bank flashes for that one. Duke very low as well. SKT, if they would have killed Duke, they may have been able to end it right here. But OQ back up again. They're going to need to be very careful. True Shot Barrage, a big chunk taken out of OQ. And with that parting shot, SKT is going to pull back and get ready for what would be their 4th dragon if they can take it.
Yeah, SK Telecom. Kane getting caught out of position a couple of times in this game has really turned things on its head. And a part of that is that we see, let's take a look at this fight before we talk about that. see coming in here with the Lysandra Claw. Now, Gnar was farming way too long in that bottom lane. Duke really needed to come home sooner than he did. Tries to throw 2 people into the turret, but nobody actually taking turret shots right there, so a bit of a misuse of the Gnar ultimate. He did what he could, but...
Well, SKT just using that pink ward as well, too, to just keep an eye on where Peanut was going to end up. Helped catch him. And SKT is starting to blow up in a pretty huge lead.
Yeah, I talked about the criticisms that I had regarding the jungle support warding synergy of SK Telecom that it really looks like they've fixed in the last couple of matches that we've seen them play Faker with another blue buff right there.
Yeah.
But we're seeing the same thing from Najin right now. Really under-warded. Kane and Peanut haven't been able to ward very well together, and so it looks like they still need to develop some more opportunities to roam on the map right there. Part of that was Najin getting pushed back into their turret frequently in the early game.
Yeah.
But ever since then, the vision control just hasn't been there from Najin, and that's really what's opened up this game in favor of SKT.
Faker's gotten to be a full 2 core items ahead of Rain right now. Looks like Rain about to finish an Abyssal, but Faker with a big lead just in the mid lane. Looks like that Dragon is going to go to SKT without any contestation at all. And Jushop Raj. Oh, only gets 1 minion there, but that's Dragon number 4 now for SKT. So Najin very quickly going from, oh, look at this, Faker over the wall, Bank coming in as well. They can't catch anyone with the E from Peekaboo, but they will push him back, and that's going to be another turret. It's going down so fast now. Wow.
And this is really Faker's vengeance, I think.
I think so.
From losing his first professional match on Ezreal against the GE Tigers, he was previously 6-0 on that champion.
Yeah. You know, Najin, although it looks like they're headed for a loss here in game number 1, what an encouraging performance from Peanut and Rain here in their first professional game.
Now, I question the Abyssal pickup right here, and Peanut not going to find a location to ult on.
It's kind of a desperation, I need some AP kind of thing. It's looking like, you know.
I just think, why would you get that when you can get Zhonya's against this team composition? Him getting poked by Faker has led to about a 50 CS deficit at the moment.
Oh, they're going to catch Peanut with the QE combo. Benki with a nice play there. Kane throws down that solar flare, not going to matter. Benki catches Duke in the Cataclysm. That's going to set up the double for Bang. And now OQ and Rain on the run. Rain gets back to Fountain, as does OQ. But I think that's going to spell the end of the game for Najin. And SKT just going to focus at Nexus. And that will be it for game number 1. SK Telecom a bit shaky in the beginning. Najin looking better, but SKT taking the win in the end. GG.
And we really saw a pretty big difference right there in terms of vision and objective control between SK Telecom and Najin. Peanut did have a good debut, did place pressure on the right parts of the map at the right time, but ultimately wasn't able to combat some very deep invades coming in from SKT. And I really like SKT's game plan coming in. If Marin hadn't had some questionable individual play in the top lane, that game would have gone much further in SKT's favor, because they punished the new players. They came in saying, we're going to pick a very dominant dual lane, we're going to push you in, and then Peekaboo and Bengi are going to roam in, ward up that bottom side jungle, continually deny Dragon and blue buff, and that proved very effective against these rookie Najin players.
Certainly did. A victory.